Hey everyone, welcome to Sunrise Extra. Am I on? Oh, okay. Hey, welcome to Sunrise Extra on a Thursday. I can't hear myself.
Can you hear me now? Can you
yes,
hear me now?
I hear you, Brenda. It is Thursday. We are getting closer to the end of the week. The weather is going to be beautiful, and we are joined this morning by our lovely friend and colleague, Cristin Severance. She's not even up early because I know she has two little boys running around the house that get you up early anyway. So thank you for hopping online and chatting with us. Your series.
Of course, I'm hiding from them.
Oh, good. Okay,
You're
good.
hiding. Where are you? How are you hiding?
I am in their playroom. So Dan and I put all the toys behind the computer, so it looks really clean behind me. And so I'm just hiding.
Kristen, I've been in that room, and that is
there.
the cleanest it's been.
Yes, it's the cleanest it's ever been. Yes. So hopefully, but if they hear me, you're going to see a door open.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And for those of you who may be watching and you don't know, Cristin is married to our main anchor, Dan Haggerty, host of The Story.
Yeah.
All right, now I think all our formalities are out of the way.
Yeah. So, Cristin, you've been doing this amazing year-long project called Inside Woodlawn. It's Woodlawn Elementary School in North Portland. You've been there so many days of the week for hours, getting to know this whole school, the teachers, the staff. And boy, I bet you didn't ever think that this turn of events would happen. Tell us about your latest episode. It's up right now on YouTube. I watched it at about 2:30 this morning. It's fantastic as always because you're tackling distance learning for these guys.
Yes. So, I mean, I talked with both of you about this project so much. I mean, when we pitched it, the idea was let's spend a year in a school. You know, we had done all of those stories inside the classroom about, violence in the classroom. That was like 6 or 7 months. And then we watched this documentary by our station in Minneapolis, and they had spent a year in a school. So we pitched the idea to Portland Public Schools, let us spend a year in a school. Amazingly, they said yes. But we had no idea what the year would entail. And I knew there would be some amazing stories. I knew because of the neighborhood, Woodlawn Elementary Schools in Northeast Portland. And so the neighborhood is right in the middle of gentrification. So I knew we'd tell that story, and we told that pretty early on. And then, one of the really powerful stories we told was the deportation episode, where a little girl, the school was told the little girl was deported. And I mean, that was a really powerful episode, but never in a million years did any of us, I mean, you two included, think that we would be covering stories about this pandemic. And so now we have this really, the relationships have already been built. The trust is there. We've been in the school so much. So now we have this incredible opportunity to tell the story of the pandemic, from a school's perspective. And it's been, so today's, the latest episode, which is online now, is we look at distance learning. And, we've told stories about distance learning so far. I mean, we've been doing it now for 2 months all across the state and, all across Oregon and Washington. But again, because we have these relationships, the trust is there. The teachers will tell us how is distance learning really going. The administrators will tell us, the kids. And so it's just this really real look at some of the challenges.
Well, then tell us the specifics. What are the teachers and what are the students saying to you guys? How is it going?
So, the episode's 12 minutes long, and I didn't even get to all of it. So it's going, for some kids, and that's the whole point here. For some kids, it is going okay. I mean, it is not this 8-hour day of learning. Mm-hmm. For the lower grades, for kindergarten, first, second grade, it's about, 45 minutes to an hour of learning a day. And then, up to 2 hours of specials. And so the parents are very involved in those lower grades. And, they're doing the virtual meetups with their classmates and talking to their classmates once or twice a week. And then the teachers go on and they show us an episode. The teachers go on, they post assignments. The kids log on with the help of their parents. They do their assignments, whether it's, counting, math, reading, which is, really popular in first grade especially. And so they're doing that. And then the older grades, again, for some kids, it's going great. The older kids know the platforms. They have, they knew this. They can log on. And I've talked to a bunch of the kids, and I know them so well now, and I interviewed them in the episode. Some of them really like it. I mean, Rashad, he's in 4th grade. He said, I like not being stuck in a classroom. I like, he misses his friends, of course. But he said, you can do it your own pace. You can do some work and then take a break and then go back and do it. He's like, he told me, you'll hear it, he says there's no bullying now. I mean, the teacher's right there in the meetup. But the big problem here, and we hear the term, equity, equitable. Is this equitable for kids? Mm-hmm. No, it's not. I mean, PPS is trying, and Woodlawn will not stop until they try to get every child connected. But think about the families in our community. I mean, there are kids who are homeless. There are families who live in shelters, who are in trailers, who have zero access to anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't have a Chromebook. Mm-hmm. And even if they do get a Chromebook from the district, how are they going to connect? I mean, they can't. Mm-hmm. So everyone is doing the best they can. And there are a lot of challenges. In the episode, we show how the principal and assistant principal, they go and get all the Chromebooks. They went and got like 65 Chromebooks for kids. And this is, issued through the district. They round them all up. And I mean, in some of the pickup spots, there were 2-hour waits, and everyone is wearing masks and waiting outside and having to wait to get these devices. Well, in the episode, the administrators at Woodlawn get that Chromebooks. They go to Martin Luther King Jr. School where the parents are supposed to pick them up. But this is all happening so quickly that none of the parents knew. Mm-hmm. None of the parents even knew to go get the Chromebooks, so no one shows up. Mm-hmm. Oh. And then they have to, I know, and then they have to go to Plan B and do an evening pickup site, and more parents came, and then they really just had to start dropping these devices off to kids. And they will not stop. I mean, they will not stop until, they get every child to be able to connect in some way. But I mean, look, time is just flying by.
Mm-hmm. Well, think about that, you guys, though. On a normal summer, advocates are saying 3 months off for kids. They are losing so much. And then, Nina, you're talking about March, April, May, June. I mean, who knows? And then you have the summer. Boy, equity goes out the window. Yeah. That is a long time, just unprecedented.
It's such a long time. And I asked them about that, too. I mean, the principal, the teachers, they're like, look, everyone is in the same boat, right? Like, everyone is going to be behind. Mm-hmm. So when they start 1st grade next year, they're going to be starting in the middle of kindergarten. Mm-hmm. But that's just the way it is. Yeah. And then on the other hand, you do have teachers saying, for the kids who can connect, we haven't even talked about parents, who are working during this and mm-hmm. then having to log on with their kids, and oh gosh, that'll be it. We are going to go a little bit deeper on that in an upcoming story. But, some of the teachers are saying for the kids who can log on, they are gaining skills. I mean, they are gaining skills that they would not have been able to experience otherwise. So that independence, that learning at your own pace, becoming resourceful, So, I mean, that is one of the positives in this whole thing. But it's hard. It's so hard.
What I really noticed watching that was in the beginning of the episode when this was before the governor's, order to close schools, and they're kind of like teachers are packing up at the end of the day just to leave, and they kind of, feel this change coming of like, okay, we're going to be shutting down soon. So they're taking crates of, work and lesson plans home. And then you see that one male teacher, and he's like, I don't really know how to do this, like you teach little kids, and through touch and see and, participation in the classroom, and teachers are walking around, making sure, kids are, making sure they stay on task and no one's whispering to so-and-so and want, like looking off out the window. Right. And now you have to come up with this online lesson plan as a teacher suddenly, and you have to figure out, I think they were using like Google Slide, he said, and some other, these programs you may not know anything about, and how to teach little kids, multiple choice problems, or I saw like they were counting counting coins, you know, to learn about money, and just to come up with those plans as an adult to figure out new programs. That's got to be such a challenge to do quickly.
Yes, yes, I know. That is something I think the episode captures really well. It's just the feeling, you know, so in the beginning of the episode, we're there as they're packing up all of their things, and you feel, and even watching it, you feel anxiety, you know, you feel how unsure they are, you know, about how are we going to do this? Seriously, how are we going to do this? But then, you know, teachers, I mean, I learned this during Inside Woodlawn. I think we are all seeing it now. Teachers are amazing. You know, the way they pivot, the way they jump in. I mean, two of the teachers who I've interviewed a lot, they're great. Anthony Lowry and Lionel Clegg, they both said, like, it's building a plane while you're in the air. And that's what they're doing. They're just building the plane while they're in the air and figuring it out. But no, the teachers, I think, have adapted. It's just, and some of the kids, you know, I interviewed 5 kids for this episode, all different grades. They're the best. The kids are the best part of this because they're so honest. I mean, you both know, if you want the truth, kids don't lie.
That was my favorite part, is hearing,
you know?
hearing the kids talk about, and I mean, especially that boy who was talking about, you know, there's no bullying. It's just like, you read into what he's saying, you know, and it's hard. It's hard being a kid, you know. Kids are cruel to each other. And at least this way, when you're in a Zoom, you know, the teacher can hear everything that's said. They can, you know, see in one screen what everyone's doing. And a lot of parents were sitting side by side, you know, the younger kids, which was cool to see. And then some other little girls was just like kind of heartbreaking, you know, if she really misses her teachers. And you don't often hear that, you know. I mean, it's kind of like when you did that Father's Day piece at Woodlawn, and you kind of interviewed the students about their dads, and, you know, the dads probably never hear that kind of honesty and that, you know, those feelings from their kid. So it's an amazing format to kind of get the kids' perspective.
Cristin,
I know,
quick.
I love that. And so, you know what, guys,
No,
of course.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, tell me.
I wanted you to remind
please,
everybody where they can see, because they're going to be listening to this and going, okay, I want to watch. Where all can they find it?
Yes, YouTube. Just go to KGW's YouTube. Google KGW YouTube, and you'll see it right there, the whole Woodlawn.
Yeah, it's right on the top.
There are 8 episodes. Yeah, there are 8 episodes and a million extras. I mean, probably 26 stories at this point through the whole year. I mean, there it is. Perfect. There you go. You can see them all scrolling through, and it's just, I was going to say, just, you know, when I interview the kids, I have to obviously go through their parents. And, you know, I'll text their parents, and we'll set up a Zoom now. And the parents love it. They're like, we love hearing what the kids are going to say. Because the best thing about kids is that, and we all know this as parents, they will say, like, they don't care if it's the right thing to say. You know, they will just speak the truth. They don't care if it sounds bad, or if their parents aren't going to like it, or if their school's not going to like it. They'll really tell me how it's going. And even Angel, little second grader in the story, he said, my siblings are just yelling all the time, you know, like, just missed school, I can't, you know, they're too loud. And, you know, his mom was there and laughed, and she's like, it's true, you know, it's really hard when you have a bunch of different kids in different grades trying to learn on a device.
Cristin, we have a question on Twitter. So if you guys have a question for Cristin, or how learning is going in the schools, she is a really great person to ask. It looks like Nick is asking, what is happening to people who don't have internet access?
So they're really trying to get the kids connected. PPS has a bunch of hotspots. Portland Public Schools has a bunch of hotspots, and the schools are delivering them to kids. So, and they also had a partnership with Xfinity, and there's or Comcast, one of the internet
Comcast,
providers.
Yeah, for a couple months of free internet.
Comcast, yeah, exactly. But like at Woodlawn, they are delivering hotspots. Now, another challenge, you know, it's the Spanish-speaking families. That's been a struggle for families at Woodlawn. I know the assistant principal there is really trying to help those families log on, because a lot of the programs, you know, aren't really designed for Spanish-speaking people. So that's a whole other kind of issue that we're going to look into next. But yeah, they're trying to deliver hotspots. I mean, they will not stop until, I know at Woodlawn, until every child is able to log on in some way.
The learning is the most important thing, right? Academics, but at this age especially, the socializing, the lunch hours that they would normally have, the recess, my favorite part of school. What are they doing to help the kids connect on that level? Anything?
Oh, that's so cute. Sorry, the video just popped up. It was me and some of the kids. So what they are, yes, so the virtual hangouts, you know, like just like us, Brenda, when we do like a Zoom hangout with friends or family members, it helps, right? I mean, it helps us to see other people, and they are doing these Google Hangouts, the lower grades once or twice a week, some of the upper grades 2 or 3 times a week, and, you know, they all meet as a class. They're all up there on the screen, and they talk, you know, they go over some of their learning, but they also just talk. You know, the teacher's there, but he or she lets them talk about their day, talk about what's going on, what they've been up to, and all the kids really like that. I think they definitely feel energized. There's one right there from the first grade. That's Mr. Clegg's class, and they're so cute and funny, and, you know, all talking to each other about coronavirus and how they miss each other and miss school and kind of what they've been up to. So that was fun to see and be a part of, and that's really the best way. They're kind of trying to keep that social component in there.
Have you heard at all any numbers, maybe out of Woodlawn in particular, of parents or families who were now fully unemployed, who, you know, are trying to just help their kids learn but also find a job? I mean, it's got to be like super stressful.
So stressful. I don't know unemployment numbers. During the episode, Andrea did say, the principal did say, some classes it was only like 25% logging on, but then some classes had 65% logging on. So there was a gap. There was a gap in who could really get connected. So that was really what I was looking at. But unemployment, I mean, that's a great question. I worry about unemployment and just the working from home, you know, working from home, having to be there with your child as they learn, basically going to school and going to work.
Yeah, and Brenda, I know you were talking about the other day, and I heard it too, and Cristin, I know you listened to the daily podcast from the New York Times, and they had interviewed this college professor and one of her students who, you know, where you think of college and they call it the great equalizer, you know, everyone's living in the same dorm, everyone's eating the same food, everyone, you know, has school pressure, but now when we all go back to our house and we're distance learning, those inequalities really become apparent again. And this one college student, her parents, you know, run a food truck. She had a full ride scholarship to college, and she's a senior, and she was trying to finish her, you know, long thesis. And her parents, I mean, are like, you know, running out of money, and she's helping them. And she just wrote this incredible email to her teacher, just, you know, breaking down and saying, I can't finish my thesis because I'm so distracted by my family's, you know, financial impact. And I just got to think, you know, this is happening to kids of all ages, you know, trying to do their schoolwork, but also, you know, right around, like that boy was saying, like, my kids are, you know, my brother and sister are yelling and parents are worried, so it's got to be scary.
It is hard, but, you know, it's not, that's the best thing about this episode and about Inside Woodlawn. Like, this is not all doom and gloom. It's not rosy. It's real. It's the real look at how this is going. And there are some positives. You know, they are able to learn somewhat. There are some negatives, of course. But it's just what we have to do right now. Yeah. And it's, you know, it's really just eye-opening. And here, I think one of my favorite parts is hearing from Cameron. She's in 5th grade. She's been in so many of our episodes. And, you know, she's sad. She's sad that the 5th graders are missing out on all of the, you know, the things that you think about in elementary school and the graduating and everything like that. But, you know, it's what they have to do right now, and so they're trying to make the best of it.
Yeah. Well, today at noon, our newest KGW anchor and reporter Galen Etlin is hosting another Q&A webcast on the do's of distance learning. He's going to have some learning experts on this subject live with him. So if you guys have any more questions of how to do it well, how to do it better at home, you parents watching, it's today at noon on all of our social platforms and on KGW.com. You can watch Cristin's entire incredible series in Inside Woodlawn on KGW right now. That newest episode is front and center right at the top of our page. I encourage you guys to check it out because, like she said, it covers so much. The good, the bad, and everything is just real. So, yes, who knew that we would be here talking about distance learning in school? Crazy times.
Yeah, Cristin, thank you so much. Your reporting
in your basement.
In your basement. I know. Your reporting is amazing.
Oh, Brenda. Thank you so much. And thank you. Sunrise has been such a great supporter of Inside Woodlawn, and I just thank you. Thank you so much for your interest in having me on, and I hope people watch it.
Good.
I miss you guys.
I miss you. Well, I'll see you probably later in the room. We're the only ones here, like in the newsroom, so Cristin and I are sticking together. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow on Friday.